Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're gonna do something almost a little bit more different. So, you know, we like to go off-roading, we like to go overlanding, which we've done a handful of times. But one of the harder parts to have is electricity while you're out and about. Yeah, I know you can plug your phone in while you're driving and all that stuff, but what if you're camping for a couple days? Then what? Well, I'm gonna fix that. So I am making a small solar array to put on top of the tent, and then I've got a box full of stuff to power it. Well, for the solar powers to panel, and then that to power whatever I want to plug into it. So let's get started on it. That being said, it's going to be kind of hard for you to show you everything in the box because, well, the box is small. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you on a whiteboard how everything's wired up, what it needs to be wired to, and I'll even show you some of the connectors, you know, that are sitting over here and all that other stuff as we go through it. But let's get to the whiteboard and I'll explain to you what's going on. Okay guys, I'm at the handy dandy whiteboard and I'm going to explain a little bit of how your system should be put together. Not saying it has to be exact, especially if you're using different components or different terminals. So it kind of depends on your setup as to how to do it, but the general idea should be the same. So for mine, I am using a Renogy 30 amp DC to DC charger with MPPT solar charger. All that said, what the idea of this thing is you can actually get energy from the alternator as it comes in. You can also get it from solar because it has a up to 400 watts of solar input, and it goes out to your battery, your electronics, or whatever it is you're using. So let me show you. All right. So the way mine's set up is on one side, you have your alternator in, you have your solar in, you have your negative and your out. All right, all that is in my box that I built. So you saw the little green box that I'm putting it in, little green ammo can. So got my ground and my hot. So I've got my solar that comes in on one side. So we have our positive in and our negative in. We also have our alternator source. Since I already have the black, there's my negative in and there's my positive in. This is from the alternator. So this could be your battery connector, it could be hooked straight to your alternator, however it is you want to do it, coming from whatever source you're doing. And you don't necessarily have to do this. This is just the way mine's set up. You can actually just do a solar MPPT solar charger. Well, they have the PDW, but the MPPT is better, in an opinion. So once we're in, we're gonna take the alternator and we're gonna go there, and we're gonna take solar and we're gonna go down to there. Your grounds are relatively easy. They're gonna come across, it's gonna go to a negative, and it's gonna go to a negative. Simple as that. As long as you got both of those, you have everything going in to your charger that you need. Now, here's where everything gets complicated. Not really. What I've got is a little bus bar, right? Half of it's red, half of it's black, positive, negative. So what I'm gonna do, this is to me the easiest way to do it, is you're gonna go from your negative to your central ground. You're also gonna go from your out down to this. Now, the only reason I like doing this is because the tabs on here are a little bit smaller and I can get bigger tabs on my bus bar. So all my stuff I can run off my bus bar. And yes, even if you're running a battery off this bus bar, it will still charge it just the way it's supposed to, like your maintainers and all that other stuff. It still senses the battery even through the bus bar because it senses energy levels, not necessarily the actual battery health, I guess is the best way to put it. So anywho, so I've got all that there. Now, everything going out is gonna go off here, which makes it super simple. So I can have my, say, USB. I have a USB port. Say I have a 12 volt, the cigarette lighter, or the cigarette lighter push button, 12 volt plug. I can also have, say, a line out that goes to an SAE connector. And that can go to wherever I want it to, but that's basically a red and a black that comes out, and it allows me to, you know, connect to whatever, which I'm doing the tent, which I'll show you here in a minute. You can also go to, say you have another SAE or a Anderson. You can do an Anderson connector and go to a battery. You can go to a battery. You can go to the tent. I can't spell, sorry you guys. Medical is my forte, not spelling. So you can go to basically anything that you want off of this, and all you got to do is just run your red wire to it and your black wire to it. And that's it. So another cool thing I've seen before, I don't need one, is you can take an inverter, just a regular, say, 1,000 watt inverter. If you're gonna plug something in, then you can put an inverter in it too. And you can do just the same with it. So you can put it in the box, and it's treated just like the other deal. You can run it straight off of here, straight to it. Now, I have seen on some of the bigger systems, mine is only a 30 amp system that only has 400 watts of solar. So I don't think I need it, because I'll have, you know, small little fuses in between it. But you could put, I've seen people go from like the out to a bus bar to this, and then this bus bar go to another bus bar. So it just puts another deal in between it, because your inverter is probably going to draw your most power, so it needs the most direct connection. That's kind of the best way that it's been explained to me. So all of that said, this is your wiring in a nutshell for this type of box. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to go into is wiring my tent. So one thing I'm gonna do with all of this is I'm putting plugs in my tent so that I can charge my phone, so I can charge whatever it is I'm using. Now, for me, we're not out there long enough, I'm not charging my laptop. Laptops take a whole lot more power to charge, and I would probably just plug them into my truck while I'm moving anyways, and that would be the time that I would charge it. So that said, mine won't have an inverter like you saw before, and the inverters pull a lot of power. They actually will probably use about 20% of the power that they put out, or that they draw, just to make the thing operate. So if you have, say, 400 watts of solar and a 400 watt inverter, your inverter is really only getting about 320 of it, because your inverter is using some of it to actually operate. So that said, you don't need an inverter to, say, charge your phone, because the USB that you plug in to your phone, to your wall jack, actually converts it from AC power to DC power. Well, solar's put in DC power. So if you run an SAE connector out and run it to the tent and plug it in, all you got to do is get the little USB terminals, you plug that in, and then you plug your phone right into it, and it connects straight to the battery. But easy for this one. Here's my tent. I actually have like a window here, the doors here, another window, and another window. So we typically sleep with our feet down this way. So what I'll do is I'll run a line. Right in here is where my tent kind of it opens up. So that's where my insert is. So I have like basically a hole there, because that's where it opens up and fans out, yada, yada, yada. But that's also the way it sits on my truck. This is the bed right here's the bed of my truck. My box is actually sitting just underneath here, so it's the easiest way to do it. Nonetheless, I run my wire into here, and I'll run a wire all the way around to here. Now, within that, I'll take my little USB boxes, which it'll have both the red and the black. It's a combined wire. So once I get it over here, right in here, I'll cut in and I'll put me a USB terminal. So right there will be a USB. I'll also have another small USB right here because I actually have a little light bar that runs across here that I can plug into that USB. But then I'll also put a USB right here. And now we can charge our phones, charge our earbuds, charge our watches, all of that in the tent just by plugging it into the little USB deals. And that is run down to my little solar box. All right, guys, so here we're at with the box. I've got it all in. I just told you about the wiring, or at least how it all connects. So I've got each one, and I need to label them. I know, I'll get there. Solar, ignition in, and then my tent out. This will go up to the tent. And then this one's just kind of an extra. But my thought on my extra is this will be my battery expansion. So when I get a battery, I can build a box into it and then just run the plug from the battery into this. And now I have batteries connected to it. So that said, there's all the fun little wiring. Like I said, it was awfully tight in here. There's not a whole lot of room to move at all. But I've got each one of my connections, my ignition and my solar, and then my power out. And then I've got all my loose wires to put these in, but I wanted y'all to be able to see this. So even once these go, they're just little connectors, little spade connectors that I'll plug in, and these things will fit through here like this. But again, I wanted you to see everything. I just wanted you to show you guys this is basically what it fits into. So this will be my box. Once I get these few things in, it will be done. And then next, we will look at the solar panels themselves. All right, guys. All together, all the pieces are in there. Looks pretty good. It's kind of tight in there. That's about it. Lid closes, so it's waterproof.
Hey guys.
Patrick made it today.
Yeah, I'm gonna help out. So, I don't know what Matt told you last, but we're trying to build our own rain gutter clamps because we're cheap. It may be an epic failure and we have to spend money anyway, but we're gonna try first.
We're mounting the solar panels is what we're doing. And yes, we're making the rain gutter clamps so that we can mount the solar panels on top of the Jeep.
Okay, so before we show you the piece of metal we were working on before we remembered to turn the camera on, the design we're using is a T-style, something to that nature. I'm not an artist, please forgive me. So this will sit inside the rain gutter. The rain gutter will come, well, actually to come more up here. This piece will come up and curve over the top of the freedom panel. Then what we're going to do is take some of the scraps. We're going to make an L and then put a hole or two. And then once we got it all fitting nice and snug and whatever, we're going to take it back off, and then we're going to lay rubber here and in your rain channel right here. And then we're going to fight and use drifts to pull it snugly together. So what we're doing now is on this piece of steel, we're laying out the measurements for this, and we'll show you how to do that.
So this is just a scrap piece of metal per se. I actually got at the steel yard yesterday. So this is what we've got to work with, and I think it's going to be enough. But more or less, because of what we've got to work with, we've got 5.5 inches to make our little up and over, and then we're looking at roughly 3/4 of an inch. Ooh, we're wiping some of it off already.
Oh yeah.
3/4 of an inch for that, and then each of the straps are going to be about 1 inch wide, which we just have to run those out.
Yeah. So what we did was we came over, we measured
halfway.
Yeah, this is, what did we say it was, 7.5?
7.5.
Okay, so we found our center point. Then we found the center point again. Once we had the center point, we know we want the leg of the T, we'll call it. to be 1 inch wide. So we just came a 1/2 inch off either side and marked here. So now we're doing the same thing up here. And because we don't have a straight edge or a flat, what is it? A metal bench rule or anything like that, we're using a piece of itty bitty
angle iron
as a straight edge. So see from my side.
There.
All right, now we're going to play with the grinder.
Yay!
Seems to cut quicker.
Yeah.
It's harder to see.
Well, you can make it go the other way so you can see what's in front of you.
I don't know, that cut pretty damn quick. Oh yeah, we're gonna rub it off about 80 times.
Rub what off? You got a vise too. Well, I guess it won't sit flat though.
We went back to the truck, we set this in there, and this is where we want to start our bend. We don't have none of them fancy press brakes or anything like that, but what we do have is a sledgehammer and a vise. So it'd be a little more meticulous, but we're gonna just start bending, and we'll bend a little, we'll test fit, we'll bend a little, we'll test fit until we get what we want. Which may not be a bad idea. Pretty well 90.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna do this. You're it. And
All right.
we'll figure it out.
So the next, we're making the strap that will bend, will underneath the hook, and then we'll mount to this piece. So we're gonna get this bent, get this all measured out, and we'll be back. All right, guys. So we've run into some interesting situations and made some unique fixes. So,
Hi.
when we started to put all this up there, we realized it was too short. Like the brackets we made were too short for it. So what we've done is we made this little pack, we welded it together, then we welded it within the channel. So now we're tall enough. So what we're doing now is we're going to tack these on, about here or so, and then we're gonna go test fit it again. And then we'll weld it fully together. And then we'll make our racks, which then we get to put the solar panels on. So let me get these welded and we'll be back. All right, guys, we got one of the next steps done. We've got the racks made. We've made them, they're just maybe an inch just off the top of it. And that's going to decrease the wind resistance underneath for these ones. So we've got that. Next, we're gonna pull them back off and we're going to put the solar panels on them. All right. Okay, all right, guys. So I've got the tent wired. We've got the solar panel, which is actually out front. Yeah, that side of the tent. So for inside, when I'm going from the box, which will actually be in the bed of the truck, I'll have a wire that'll come up from the box up through my little hole that's right here into this. So this is just the easiest way that I found to do it. So I have a 12 volt, woohoo! I have a SAE adapter that can go to this, so I can run it from the box to the SAE and into here. And then even when I use, say, my inverter, that's just regular USB-C, I can put a USB-C plug in here, plug it into that, and it powers the rest of the stuff to the tent. So that's the connection. And all I did was run some wire. I have wire run underneath here. I have one plug here. I don't really have a good place to mount these, considering all this is, you know, wrapped and everything else. But I have one plug here. If I go up here, I've got my light, my little light bar up here. You can't quite see it, but I got a light bar up here, and that runs down to a little switch that I've got here. So I just have an on-off switch here. See, there's my light bar that goes across. But then over on the other side, for whoever else is here, more than likely Casey and maybe Patrick, I've got another plug. I know it's dark, but there's another plug over here on this side. So, but that's what it is, just both plugs, wire run all the way across, around, and then out through the little hole there. All right, guys, so there it is. Got the solar mounted, got our nice little brackets here. Yes, I know, they're not painted. I'm working on it. Just had a few other issues to fix. But nonetheless, solar's on. Run down, just like that. Run to my little box. My little box is on. I've got it plugged in. And just to test it, I've got my, just a little 12 volt plug. And it's lit up. But then my phone also shows that it's charging, which means I've got solar going to the box. So my next deal will actually be running the ignition wire from here down to my battery point, more or less. But I'm not going to show you all that. It's literally connecting 2 ring connectors, and then you can plug that into the box as well when the box is needed. So outside of that, for the most part, the solar's done. We've got the solar up there, the ignition will be connected, and then I've got all the stuff that I could possibly ever want. I've got the USB plugs to charge my battery, my Ryobi battery and charger. And then I've also got a deal going up to the tent. I've just got all sorts of stuff. So there's that. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed it. If you would, like, subscribe, and share. And that way we can, you know, expand and let more people see it. So other than that, we're going to be at the Jasper Jeep Jam this weekend. So we'll see you there. Bye, guys.